Hi, my name is Frank. I am a maintenance lead here at Quintex.
And I'm Brodie, co-CEO at Quintex Services. Today we're here to talk to you about sustainability.
On this episode of the Loaded Laundry.
So Frank, you and I have been here for a much shorter amount of time than the company's been around. As we become more aware of the impact of industrial processes on the environment, we've made big leaps. What would you say is some of our big initiatives?
Well, here at Quintex, I think some of our larger initiatives have always been focused on efficiency of the resources we use, like our water, our steam uses, our air compressors, just to be completely efficient in everything we use to get things from point A to point B. The chemical water treatment system is amazing. It's helping us reuse up to 87% of our water. We're filtering 100% of it. And we're always looking at new inventive ways to even reduce our impact on our water use even further. We've added a water savings valve to prevent water bubbles from entering. I think we're now at about 0.47 gallons per pound.
The 0.47, just for any viewers out there that are kind of trying to tie that to something. So in our industry, we have a clean green standard, and the standard that to be clean green, you need to be below 2.6 gallons per pound, and we're below 0.5 gallons per pound of laundry that we wash. A lot of that's your team's commitment to keeping that machine running as smoothly as possible. Even compared to your at-home laundry, even if it's an efficient one, gallons per pound is that we operate at is much lower than what you'd be doing at home. The wastewater treatment plant is probably one of our proudest environmental initiatives. To clean clothes, you need water. There's no other environmentally friendly way to do it. You have to use water, but if you can conserve, like you said, 80% of that water, that's a huge win for us and the environment. So yeah, that's my favorite too.
If I think further and further back, I listen to all the stories from some of our chemical suppliers like Ecolab, and they tell me about the old days where the people who were working on the wash aisles where they washed all their clothes would have rubber boots because the washers would always overflow because they're always manually introducing soaps, and the machines would overflow and the wash aisle would just be full of water. And I think one of the first big leaps forward in sustainability in our industry was direct chemical injections. Prevented all this extra water from overflowing, all this sudsing. You probably lowered your wash formulas, dry formulas, and everything. And I think that was one of the first major leaps forward in the industry that I can recall.
On top of using limited chemicals, we try and use chemicals that are always, safe for the environment. You're right, it's the combination and it's the working with suppliers too. A nice thing about our industry is that everyone seems to be on some level trying to achieve that sustainability goal. They've got their own targets that they're trying to hit. And then on top of that, I know you've done a lot of work with Efficiency Manitoba, which is not specific to our industry, but they're a great team to work with to try and find other creative ways to reduce.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of programs. So we do some research, and so usually we implement some of these things. Steam trap analysis was one of them, and we've definitely reduced our steam usage this year. I mean, I'm hopeful it's showing down the road and becoming more sustainable. Always seems to be a core of what we do here. And we're never afraid to shy away from new ideas and trying new inventive ways to do things.
As we moved, from dye works to dry cleaning into industrial laundry, that move, I feel like industrial laundry especially, it really is part of the whole nature of the business, is trying to find ways to reduce, reuse, and do everything more sustainably. So like you said, we try and get creative on basically any level. If there's a way to use less paper by using handheld devices, or reroute so that we're driving less.
Hard to recycle programs?
Yeah, we have a hard to recycle program where any staff member can bring in their paint cans, their electronics, whatever it is, and they can just dump it off here, and we'll get it to the recycling depot instead of them ending up in the trash. We get a lot of pens and batteries that come in with the wash, and we try and recycle all those to different programs too.
We have the Q crew going out to charities and stuff like that. I think that's another great thing.
It really has been embraced by the team. We get huge participation every Earth Day when we do
Big cleanup.
the community cleanup around here. It's always remarkable how much garbage ends up kind of floating into the area, but it's impressive just that everyone's keen to take the time to clean up the area. And then we support other causes as well, whether it's Nature Conservancy of Canada, For White Alive, Lake Winnipeg Foundation, supporting those organizations that are doing a ton to help our environment, especially within the province, is
Big
huge
fan of
for
Four
us.
White.
Yeah.
I tend to take my bike there quite a few times in the summertime, so very appreciative of everything that we have.
Yeah, they do the more concentrated work for the environment, and it's great to be able to support them, and we'll do whatever we can here to try and help along the way as well.
What do you think was the driving factor to get us to look into more sustainable options and projects in the future?
That's a good question. The push for sustainability here, it predates me starting here. From a family perspective, I know my grandfather, my grandmother, my father, nature has always been really important to them. Spending time in outdoors, being able to swim in healthy lakes, healthy drinking water for people, all that has always been a priority, and I think that's sort of where the idea of being an environmentally sustainable company came from. As the business started to change, as this building started to grow, we started getting new machinery. I think it just became part of the practice to evaluate how each decision would impact the environment, whether that's a new washing machine, what was the efficiency metrics of this machine, choosing a machine that was the right decision for the long term of the company, but also long-term sustainability. We can't really take credit for that one. It kind of came before us that we wanted to work with machines, work with companies that are doing the right thing. And I'd say that's where it started from. And then as it's grown, we've become more almost nuanced in our decision making. Smaller initiatives like not having trash cans at everyone's desk, and instead of having centralized, compost, recycling, and garbage, so that people would be sort of compelled to put the right thing in the right bucket, is an example of a small initiative. And what's great about that is that when we proposed that idea, I was a little concerned about the frustration that would cause for people, that they couldn't just chuck something right beside them and they now had to get up and walk it over somewhere. But the pushback was super minimal because people understood the reason behind it. They understood the importance of composting. We work with Compost Winnipeg for that, and we have been for a number of years now. It's nice to be able to not have as much trash as we used to be able to recycle things that are difficult to recycle. Most of the initiatives that we've created, I honestly can't think of one where we've had a lot of pushback from our team, because they understand the importance and they're on the same page too. And I think that speaks to the culture that has been created over the years. The people here value that as much as we do.
The communication of all those initiatives has been key, because when everyone, like you said, is paddling in the same direction, it's much easier. So if everyone knows why we're doing something, what it's for, they're more likely to paddle in the same direction. Most of the ones that I've seen has actually come from team members.
Yeah.
Monday mornings in the wintertime, cold water, washers aren't getting up to temperature, and you start looking into it and start finding out why this is happening, and then all of a sudden you go down this little rabbit hole of solutions and you find an efficient way to do something. Dryers are not functioning 100%, and you go, well, let's look into it a little bit, and you start looking into it and you find, hey, there's a vent problem here, or there's something wrong with the burner, and now we have a burner cleaning program every year, which has increased the efficiency of our dryers so that we're not re-drying as much as we used to. Our hot water heats up a lot quicker because we've shrank our tanks, so the volume isn't as big in the winter times. And these are all examples of ways we've been able to reduce things simply from one of the team members having a small problem and bringing it to our attention. I think it all goes back to the culture that the team has built over the long time that we've been doing laundry.
Yeah, For sure. When you have over 100 people looking for ways to improve, you're going to find a lot more ways to improve than if there's just a few of us, right? Little suggestions here and here that really move us that one step forward. For some of the bigger projects that take a little bit more time, we try and work on those, but every little bit helps, and especially when you're able to maintain that year over year. We like finding creative ways and doing all that we can to reduce our impact, and engineering has a huge part in that, because you guys know how to find those numbers and change our systems so that we don't even, there's no water dropping somewhere, or there's a way to get every machine that we upgrade, we look at the efficient options. It is, we have a great team here, and I think we're all pulling in that same direction, whether it's the community or the environment. I think we're very lucky to work with the people that we have. As a local company, I think it's even more important, or maybe top of mind for us. We're all Winnipeggers. We work together. We want to do what's right for our people in our province.
I find it's just, I work in a continuously changing working environment, and the world changes itself just as quickly. And I find that it's the people around that are able to help make all these visions come to fruition, because they're all, as you say, pulling in the same direction.
Totally.
And I find it can be a challenge. Whenever we implement something new, there's a little learning curve that goes with it, but once we smooth out all the wrinkles, as I like to say, we're usually pretty good, and we're always continuously improving, and keeps me on my toes. And it can be a challenge sometimes, but when I look back at where we were years and years and years ago to where we are now, I'm like, well, we've taken some major leaps forward. You don't see it because you're doing little bits at a time.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good to just sit back and go,
Yeah.
I was going through my random notebooks that I've had over the years, and I'm like, this is a lot of notes I took here. And I'm like, some of these machines we don't have anymore. Wow, we've come a long ways here.
It's fun when you start writing out some of the projects we've done or initiatives we've been able to do. If you were to kind of have a wish list for the future of like environmental projects that you think we could tackle, or that you'd like to tackle, maybe the technology's not there yet, maybe it is there but we just haven't found a place to put it. What's on your mind as far as the next big step?
That's an interesting one. Honestly, I'd like to see how far vehicles can come in the near future. I mean, we're seeing battery operated vehicles come soon. I'm just wondering when these little hover vehicles are going to come here and be flying around like the Jetsons or something all over the place. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think like in Manitoba, we're fortunate to be on hydroelectric power for the most part. We're fortunate to have pretty clean energy that we're using. I'm always interested in like, as solar develops and that sort of thing, if there's a way to use that here, who knows, down the road, be an energy provider ourselves or something like that. I know they're making big steps in that area, so it'd be nice to institute that here.
I know some room on the roof that we can.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, right above us, prime example. There's nothing here. We put a couple panels.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to do something like that and start creating our own and be less dependent on the grid, especially as electric cars become more popular. People are going to become more reliable on energy, and I think it'd be nice if we can find ways to contribute to the grid, reduce our usage, and also if the next step I think is contribution ourselves to our own power generation. So that'd be great.
I'll probably come before my hover car.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up our episode of The Loaded Laundry on sustainability.
We will see you at the next episode of The Loaded Laundry.
Yes. If you're interested in more things about environmental initiatives or just Quintex in general, please contact us. We're also very happy to give you a plant tour and show you some of the things that we've talked about today. Thanks for tuning in, and
we'll see you next
time.
Have a good one.